We're going to take a look at characteristics, but before we begin, I want to show you two things on other videos. All right, so if you click settings and you need to change the language of the captions, you're going to go to settings, then you're going to do English auto generated, then you're going to go down to auto translate, and then go pick the language that you would like the translation to be. The other thing that I want to show you is that if I'm talking too fast, you can slow me down. So you go to playback speed, and then you can change the speed as you want. If I'm talking too slow, you can increase the speed. That way this video is tailored to exactly what you want. All right, so now that you know those couple of shortcuts using the video, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're not going to look at all the characteristics that they are, but we will look at these five. So you've got notes on how to find each of those five, and I'll do those notes while I do my question. So just so that you know, you are going to do this bottom question, and you can see it's from a graph. And I'm going to do on the very next page this top question, and you can see it's from an equation, because again, remember, you can put anything into Desmos to make it a graph, and then you can answer all the characteristics. So as I do my question, please make sure that you are doing your question right here at the very bottom. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. It says a business purchased a machine for $8,000. The machine loses its value, so it's going down at a constant rate. That means it's a straight line of $500 each year. The value of the machine can be modeled as this equation. So we just said the hint says, go ahead and put that into Desmos. Now you can type in v of x equals all of that, or you could just type in y equals. Both mean the same thing. So remember, v of x is function notation, what we do in 9th grade, whereas y equals is an equation. So if I only have one variable equals, it's an equation, a linear equation, because that's what this is. Or if I put two variables or two letters, then it is a function. So to save on time, I'm going to put an equation because it doesn't matter. So I've got 8,000 minus 500x. Now I have a graph. Oh no, I don't have a graph. So what I'm going to do, and what I will always do, is I will press settings, hit table, and then on here, I will go ahead and hold down enter until I have a lot of values. And then I'm going to hit zoom fit. So I could zoom in until it comes here, but I found that that takes a lot longer. I found that this is the easiest way. Hit settings, table, hold down enter until you have a lot of values, and then hit zoom fit. What you're looking for in your graph is you need to know where it crosses the y-axis and where it crosses the x-axis. So right now I have enough. So this now makes it your question. So you can see you already have a graph. So now I have my graph, you have your graph. As I answer my question, you're answering your question. All right, so the very first one is the x-intercept, and that's simply where it crosses the x-axis. So you just need to know what the x-axis looks like. So what we're going to do at the very top right here, if you could just draw a coordinate plane. I just want you to label this x-axis, and I want you to label this y-axis. That's not how you spell it. So that you know. So x-axis left to right, y-axis up and down. All right, so where is my x-intercept? So I'm going to come where it crosses the x-axis, which is left to right. So where does this red line cross left to right? And it's going to be right there, which for me is 16, 0. So you're going to write down where it crosses for yours. So for me, it's 16, 0. And then what does it mean in this context? So what's happening? Remember, you need three things, right? Remember, we need three things when we're looking at a graph. Number one is a title. Number two is the x-axis title or label. Maybe I should say label. Let me go ahead and say label. So go ahead and write this down, label. And number three is the y-axis label. That way you understand exactly what's going on in the situation. So this title is about machinery. So business purchased machinery, and as time goes by, it's losing. So I'm going to go ahead and write down for me what my title is. Machine worth. And then the X label is time, but what is it? Year, minutes, what is it? It can be modeled. It doesn't say. Each year. Here we go. So for me, the X is time each year, in years. And then the y-axis is it loses value or in dollars. So this is value in dollars. All right, so let's go look at your graph and see if you have labels. So yes, you have labels right now. So here's your labels. Here's your X. It's the lawns mowed and the total cost. And then your title, you have to read what it says. Lawn company charges a one-time service fee plus a fixed amount per lawn mowed. The total cost is represented by the function. All right, so this is your title is mowing lawns. So anytime you're answering a question, you now know what the question is about. So those are the three things that you need. All right, so what does this x-axis represent? So when x is 16, y is 0. What does that mean? So think about it. My machine is going down in value. At x, the value of my machine is 0, and then the time is 16 years. So I can put the sentence in any way that I want to as we practice in class. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to put it in order. After 16 years, the value of the machine was $0. All right, meaning basically I couldn't sell it. No one's going to buy it. All right, so again, for you, you're going to come and tell me what is your x-intercept. So it's down here. What is your x-intercept? Go ahead and write the coordinate. Does this make sense in the context of the problem for whatever that means? And you can estimate the x-intercept. That's fine. Just explain what you think. So again, just thinking what it means once you have your three things. The next question is, what is the y-intercept? Well, if I look at my notes, it says the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, and we just labeled the y-axis as going up and down. So I look up and down. Where does this graph cross this black line? Right at this point. If I click it, it's going to tell me exactly what that is. So the point is 0, 8,000. And then the question is, what does that represent? So again, as long as I use the X number, the Y number, and the title in my representation, then I'm good. So order does not matter. So I can say, I can start off with in fact, let me try and go in order of this. So the title is a machine. So the machine was worth X, which is 0. 0. The machine was worth after 0 years, and then the Y is 8,000, $8,000. Okay, now you can clean up that sentence a little bit better and just say the machine was worth 8,000 years when I first got it, or at the start, or at the beginning. Anything like that is fine. Okay, so the machine was worth $8,000 at the start. Or I can say when I first bought it. Anything like that is fine. All right, so for you, you're going to go in and say, what is your y-axis? So again, here's your y-intercept. Go ahead and write down your coordinates for your y-intercept. Tell me the meaning in the problem, making sure you use these three things in your meaning. All right, let's practice.